Hey guys, it's me, Professor B. Welcome back to class, and we are going to go over some examples of compound interest today. Okay, so we've got two formulas we need to talk about. The first formula is for just regular compound interest. Okay, so we have A equals P times the quantity 1 plus R over N to the NT. We'll go over what all those letters mean in just a second. And then we have what is called our continuous compounded formula, okay? So this is A equals P times E to the RT, all right? Again, we're gonna go over what all these letters mean, but what you need to remember is this guy right here is continuous. So when we look, we're gonna look for our trigger words in our problem. We're gonna look for the word continuous, and that's how we know to use this formula. Otherwise, we're gonna use our regular compounding formula. So what do these letters mean? So this key goes for both formulas. So as long as you know what each one means, you're fine for both. A is your ending amount. This is going to be your ending balance in your savings account. This is going to be the ending amount that you owe if you are using this formula for a loan. It's your ending amount, so that's your A. P is your principal. It's how much you're starting with. How much are you investing? How much are you borrowing? R is your interest rate. Okay, so, and then something to remember about this must be in decimal form. All right, so if you don't remember how to do interest rates as a decimal, let's say you have something like 10%. Percent means per 100, so that means that you would just take the 10 and divide it by 100. So you get 0.10. Okay, so whatever your percentage is, divide it by 100% per 100, and you will get the decimal form of that. All right. N. N only applies to this formula because it's the only formula that has an N. There's no N over here. N is the number of times that you're compounding per year. All right. So if I say we're compounding monthly, well, that means we're going to compound 12 times in 1 year. If I say we're compounding weekly, that means we're going to compound 52 times a year. Okay, so that's what the N stands for. It's the number of times you are compounding per year. And then T is your time in years. Okay, so if they give you an amount of months, you have to convert that to a year. All right. So we're going to look at a couple of examples. All of these are fairly mild to medium, nothing super spicy here. We're just making sure that we plug into the correct formula. I'll show you what to look for and make sure that we are plugging our numbers into the correct spots. I've got a pattern for that for you as well. Okay, so Brenda invests $4,500, into a savings account with a fixed annual interest rate of 5% compounded monthly. What will the account balance be after 6 years? All right. So the only thing I picked up that whole first time reading through, we're going to read this through multiple times. The only thing I picked up the first time through is compounded monthly. That's the first thing I caught on. That is your key phrase that you are going to use the compound formula. Okay, so we're going to use this formula right here for this one. So the first thing that I'm going to do before I even read through this again, I'm going to write down my formula. Writing down your formula each time you use it, yes, each and every time, it'll help you memorize it if you have to, and it just helps you get comfortable using it. So I am going to write down my formula. A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT. Okay, so I wrote down my formula. All right. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to write out like a shopping list to myself. Okay, so I'm going to write A, P, R, N, and T. Those are all the letters that are in this formula, all right? And then I'm going to see which letters I can fill in, and then I'm going to solve for the one that I'm missing, all right? So I'm going to read through this problem again, okay? Brenda invests $4,500 into a savings account. Well, I'm going to stop right there. So Brenda invests 4,500. So that's how much she's starting with, right? She's going to start with that 4,500 and that's what she's going to invest. So that means that this right here, your starting amount, how much you're investing, that's your P. So I'm going to put 4,500 right here for my P. Okay. So again, starting over, Brenda invests 4,500 into a savings account with a fixed annual interest rate of 5%. So interest rate of 5%. So that means I'm going to have, for my R, that's my interest rate, I'm going to put 5%, but remember I told you that has to be in decimal form. So we're going to do that equals 0.05. Again, if you don't remember how to find that, just take the number and divide by 100. So that's where we got 0.05 from, okay? Compounded monthly. So I've already highlighted it, so all I'm going to do is go around and go, this is going to be my N. This is how many times. So if I'm compounding monthly, how many times did I compound in a year? 12 months in a year, so that means I'm compounding 12 times. Okay. Last but not least, we need to know our time, if we can find it. What will the account balance be? All right, so account balance B, well, that's how much you'll have at the end. So that's what we don't know. We do not know what our A is going to be. So that's what we're going to end up solving for. After 6 years, that's your time. T, remember that's always in years. Okay, so we filled in every one of our variables except for A. So that's going to be the one that we solve for. So now I'm going to go through my formula and I'm going to plug in all the pieces that I know. I don't know what A is, so I'm going to leave that part alone. P, I know what P is. That is 4,500, open a parenthesis, 1 plus my R, that's 0.05, over my N, that's 12, raised to the N, 12 times T, which is 6. Okay, so I replaced each one of my letters. I knew what the number was. I replaced it in my formula. From here, this is a great place to use your calculator. Don't stress out too much about plugging everything in. So when I use my calculator for this, I'm going to get about 6070.5798. All right. Since this is a problem involving money, unless the problem specifically tells you what to round to, you're going to always want to round to the nearest cent. So if I look at that 7, that 9 is going to bump us up 1. So my ending answer is going to be $6,070.58. So if you invest $4,500 at 5% interest, compounded monthly, after 6 years, you're going to have a little over $6,000. Okay, let's take a look at another one. Leah invests $3,200 into a savings account with a fixed annual interest rate of 8% compounded continuously. What will the account balance be after 12 years? So again, the first thing that pops out in my head before anything else does is that compounded continuously. Specifically, it's going to be this word right here, continuously. That means you're going to use the continuously compounded formula. That's the one that looks like this. A equals P times E to the RT. Again, as long as you write down the formula each time, that helps you memorize it, helps you get everything you need out of it. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing I did on the last problem. So I'm going to write out my shopping list, A, P, R, T. Remember, E is a natural log number, so that is its own specific number. So we don't have to worry about what that value is. It'll be in our calculator. All right. So going through our problem again, Leah invests $3,200 into a savings account. So that means I've got $3,200 in our savings account. That's how much we're starting with. So I'm going to put 3,200 as my P with a fixed annual interest rate of 8%. So 8% is my interest rate. Remember, that means that it needs to be in decimal form. So 8% converts to 0.08 when you divide 8 by 100. And then T is our time. So let's look and see what we got here. What will the account balance be after 12 years? That's our T, time. Okay. Again, we don't know what our account balance is, so that's going to stay a question mark. So now all we have to do is A equals P. Well, P is 3,200, so I'll put that there, times E. Remember, this is a number in your calculator, raised to the R, that is 0.08, times T, which is 12. Okay, so I replaced all of my letters with the values that I found within the problem, and it might take you reading the problem 1 or 2 times. That's okay. All right, just look for interest, look for a percent symbol for your interest rate. Look for how much are you starting with, how much are you investing, those kinds of things to help you. Okay, when you plug this into the calculator, you're going to get about 8357.4287. And again, this would keep going. So the problem didn't tell me what to round to, so I'm going to round to the nearest cent. So I'm going to look at the 2, bump that 8 is going to bump it up. So I am going to end with $8,357.43. All right, so there's a couple of examples on the compound interest formulas. If you want more examples, if you want something specific, just drop a comment. I will work on that video for you guys. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in class next time. Bye.